Hey guys, so I won this. This is really cool. Obviously, it's still in the package, but yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a blower, and I won it from Motivated Painters, as you can see here. If you haven't checked out this guy, his name's Gabe. He is a awesome painter. I mean, awesome painter. And that's what he does every day, and he does it on high-end cars, whatever, you know, you name it. But anyway, yeah, I just happened to enter one of his little contest deals and happened to win. So yeah, this is like 25 or 30 bucks, I think, for this, and pretty cool. So anyway, oh yeah, and Tom sent when I went down to hook up with Tom in Vegas, he gave me a paint stripe stencil kit for the Camaro, which is back in pieces. I don't know if you guys seen that when it was back in pieces or not. You've seen it lots of pieces before, I know, but I just separated everything so I could get back on to getting all this prepped and fitted and finished and all that kind of stuff. Now that I've got everything, you know, where I want it. More 64 Chevy parts that I need to epoxy, so I'll do that eventually. What I'm working on now is this, and it wasn't fun. You can see I was basically what I was trying to do. My timing, I think I mentioned this on a previous video. My timing chain was stretched. Somebody had cobbled up the former, this dude here, and what they did is they clipped these edges off here and then tried to seal it with silicone. Well, it never sealed, so it just kept leaking. Well, I thought it was my rear main seal. Well, I think it was that front seal, and so it just covered the whole bottom of the truck with oil, just gobs and gobs of it. And so it was leaking, you know, it leaked here and there, no big deal, but you know, I thought, well, while I'm changing all this stuff and doing whatever, I'll go ahead and change that oil pan gasket. So I got a one-piece oil pan gasket, and I had to jack up the motor. Then I had to take loose the cross member. It's actually bolted in, and slide it forward. That was a monster pain in the ass by myself, doing it by myself. Better get this while I'm thinking about it. But anyway, these bolts here, and then there's some bolts underneath, and then down below, and then there's all kinds. There's like, what is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bolts per side. And yeah. So trying to get it on top dead center. Or I've got it on top dead center now. That way my chain, you know, I got my chain, everything. You can see it's pointing toward number 1. But I went ahead and pulled the pan, and while I was in there, I got some bad news. First of all, that's all metal. That's a bunch of it. Thick, nasty. I mean, it's oil, obviously, but that's just shards of metal. And then there's actually pretty good chunks. Look how big that, I don't know what that is or off of. Maybe somebody else will know. Here, that's the underside. I'm gonna have a contest and figure out what is this part. Here, hold on a second. It's got like a little step in it. Focus you back. Yeah, that was Ave. So shiny on one side, and then it's got this little deal on the other side. Man, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a mechanic. Could be a piston skirt maybe, but a piece of a skirt, or I don't know. But that little part right there, that'll focus in on that. It's got a little edge, little groove. So whatever's in there that looks like that, there's a piece of it missing, and it's probably been destroyed. It doesn't look like a piece of the camshaft. I wouldn't think. I don't know what else in there would have that. There's several pieces. I mean, there's just chunks all over the place. Whatever's in there is broken, but it still runs great. So whatever it is wasn't affecting the way it ran. And the only reason I did this is because when I was trying to time it with a light, and I thought this was all factory motor, which I should have known by looking at somebody's been into it before. And so when I was timing with the light, I tried to set it at 4 degrees before, which I think is what the factory says. Well, it started running like crap, and I'm like, okay, so I had timed it by ear initially because I didn't have a timing light. Well, when I timed it by ear, actually what I did was I timed it with a vacuum gauge. So I found the highest vacuum, and it ran great. So no problem. Well, then I bought a timing light, and I thought, well, let's check it. And when I checked it, the timing was way off. And so, you know, I get to thinking, well, all right, maybe the balancer slipped because it's pretty crappy and pretty shitted out. So got me another balancer. Then when I took all that off, I found that the timing chain was stretched, looked like pretty badly. And so that may be the main reason that it was so far out of time as far as according to the timing gun and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I thought, well, while I'm under there, because I got to take that pan off in order to put the timing cover back on to not have to hack it up. So yeah, but I'll take you underneath there real quick. Hopefully I got enough battery juice to kind of get a look, because I'm not a mechanic. I don't know that much about this stuff, but you guys might be able to see some stuff that doesn't look right to you. And hopefully all that'll show up. Let me get my light up here. Give it a little bit more light on the subject. It is a 4-bolt main. Now that's good news. Alright, do what you're supposed to do, light. Sorry. I'm trying to get it to hold there. I'm going to grab a hold of this piston skirt and see. No, I don't think that's it. That's a piece of steel. What am I thinking? The freaking pistons are aluminum. So it's not a piston skirt, so it's got to be something else. But what the hell would it be? Man, I honestly... Anyway, yeah, I don't know. So, part of a rod maybe, or... Man, I don't know. But you can see that the cylinders are pretty scored up. I say that you can see that. I can see it on a couple of them. Let me see if I can get it up in there. And you can see the inside of that piston looks pretty rough. I don't know why. It's just discolored or whatever, but I see some pretty good scoring up in there. So yeah, that metal's kind of just run around in this motor and pretty well trashed it. So yeah, it needs to be rebuilt, but that's not something that I planned on doing right now. This was going to be set up for when I actually pulled the whole truck apart, pulled the frame off, and did all that, and started rebuilding the whole truck. I was just going to take everything apart, chassis, everything, do a frame off on it, rebuild the motor, brakes, suspension, all that kind of stuff then. Body work and the whole thing, kind of what I'm doing to that. But I didn't want to do it now. I've been driving this truck and it drives fine and runs fine. It's just, you know, just thought, man, I'd like to get it timed just right. And kind of bite me in the ass. I should have left it alone and just drove it. Of course, I did find out there's a bunch of metal down in there, but you know, it's probably already run through the motor and jacked a lot of stuff up, and so this motor's pretty tired. Now, like I said, I couldn't tell. This is a 1970 truck. It's TBC, I think, is what's on the deal right here, but I can't see back to get the casting numbers, so I'm not real sure, because I was going to look it up by casting and see, but they have a TBC for a 79 Chevy 350 and a 70 Chevy 350, so I want to assume that this is probably the original engine. I bought this from the second owner who bought it from the first owner. He bought it in 1975. Now, I don't know exactly what all they've done to it, you know, he done to it since then, but a lot rougher than I thought. Of course, the whole truck's rough, but, you know. But yeah, I got it up high enough to thinking I could get the oil pan off, and then found out that no, these guys in here, that cross member had to be slid forward, and you might be able to see it down in there with the light. But I had to move it quite a bit on that side, and then of course this side, yeah, there you can go, you can see it. Kind of just pushed it forward and it let it go, but you're not going to do it without pulling that cross member out of there, at least in my opinion, because I tried and tried and tried. I did not want to break that cross member loose, but because I knew it was going to be a pain in the ass. But yeah, and I had to rebuild had to go buy a new cylinder for this because my cylinder blew out on me. So I've had all kinds of good luck. But I bought this from Northern Tool, 79 bucks I think, and it's an 8-ton, and it bolted right up, so real happy about that. Anyway, so yeah, I've got a lot of work to do on this. I'm gonna clean all this out. I really don't know what else to do but to just put it back together and get it running again, and because I got so much other stuff to do. I mean, I'm still doing this project. I didn't want to get into the middle of this project, but what turned into, from simple timing, turned into a freaking whole full-blown pain in the ass nightmare here. So yeah, there you go. So we'll holler at you guys later.